I'm Allison Rogers, editor of Collision Repair Magazine. Last week, the Collision Repair Magazine editorial team was at CCIF, the virtual experience, checking in with some of the exhibitors to hear how the show's going for them this year. Check out our interviews from the show to learn more about what these industry experts think is in store for the Canadian collision industry this year.
The goal here at CCIF, I mean, you guys are always very active supporters and sponsors of CCIF. Fixed Auto is. What's the goal here for your team and just for Fixed Auto as a general whole, if you can speak to that?
Well, our participation, I would say first and foremost, is about support for the industry. We want to be there so that we showed up as sponsors to keep the events alive so that the CCIF is viable. Two, I do like the opportunity to chat and interact with people. But what I really like is as I watch the presentations and I hear the interactions of the other people watching it, it gives me a feel for what people's opinions are currently around topical discussions in the industry. For instance, yesterday when Ryan was talking about, the perspective of the insurance business from the bureau's perspective, not from an insurance partner, not from a repairer, but from sort of a middle ground regulatory piece, and talking about the shared customer we have in the car owner. So we're not talking about the insurance company, we're not talking about the repairer, and we're not talking about the OE pressure that's on the repair situation, but we're talking about the actual perspective of the guy who's ultimately going to drive away in that car. And what's his value? Like, we all are fighting, it seems, for control of the repair. Who's going to be responsible for what data we use, what data we keep? There's all these discussions. And in this whole thing, we seem to forget about the individual who's driving away with his own asset. So I think that was very valuable, and that seemed to spark a lot of interest. And I thought to myself, something, they're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget about the young family that's going to be in this car, that we have a responsibility as an industry to deliver a safe, responsible repair at a responsible price. That's why we're here. And I think we get lost in the minutia of our own vested interests sometimes. So to me, if I walked away with that one epiphany, it was worth the price of admission for me.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's an example of what I'm looking for, is just a perspective on what's important to people.
Yeah, I totally agree there. I mean, I think I totally agree with the whole AIA, Your Data, Your Choice campaign as well. But a lot of people are getting lost in, the world of ADAS calibrations and all these technological advancements. I mean, what we really are doing here is we're here to serve the customer, give them a safe quality repair. And if that isn't something we can achieve, then what's the point of all of this?
Correct. Correct. That should be the goal.
Mm-hmm. So in terms of 2021, last year obviously was a whirlwind. We won't talk too much about that, but the general scheme of things we're looking at, the insurgence of EVs, more technology, training. What are some things that Fixed Auto is looking at? And you as Fixed Auto Regional Director of Ontario, what are you looking at to sort of focus on this year for your shops?
Yeah, so key for me is to keep everybody aware that we are coming out of this. This is going to have, whether it completely ends, I doubt it, in 2021, but we're going to start to recover from this at some point this year, whether it's just because we kill this thing by staying home or we all get the shot in our arm, whatever it is, there's going to be a degree of ramp up that's going to happen, Allison. So to be prepared for that, we have to be ready. We have to be the ones that survived the whole, this whole horrible thing. So we've got to be there ready. And to be ready, we have to be equipped, we have to be trained, and I believe we have to be, and this kind of goes back to that last conversation, we have to have the credibility as the best repairers. So to do that, that's a nice lofty goal, but in order to do that, we've focused a lot of our internal resources on the training and preparation of our people. We're doing more training than we've ever done before, delivering it virtually, but we're doing more training. We have logged thousands of hours of virtual training with our franchisees. Our people are more in tune with protocols, with technology, with file compliance than we've ever been before. We're also planning to start doing, ICAR training, it's so important and it's so valuable, but some of it's difficult to deliver. So one of the key things that is difficult for the industry to get their head around at a shop-by-shop basis, for instance, is welding training. So it's difficult to schedule. It has to be in person. There's just no way to weld a panel on a Zoom meeting. So we have to learn to bring people in. So under the constraints we have, I have a 14,000 square foot training facility. I can safely have 2 people and a trainer in here. It's a huge expense for me, but we've committed to do that. So we're going to offer welding certification training. ICAR, we have ICAR trainers within our own organization. So we're going to do it for our people alone, very small, very expensive groups, but we're going to take that burden on so that we can get to our shops that don't have current welding certification to ensure they stay viable as a gold member and can, either get or maintain their CCIP accreditation. To us, that's just an absolute baseline for 2021.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, putting yourselves in a position like that obviously isn't easy, but when you see the greater good that it will bring to the industry, I mean, it's absolutely worth it. So I commend you guys for that. That's fantastic. In terms of, I mean, we've already kind of touched on this, but I mean, you're supporting your franchisees through 2021 through training, and I mean through the endless support of making sure that they are serving the customers and whatnot. In terms of, I mean, ADAS and technology, is there training that you guys are doing along with that, or is that more on the online end as well?
Well, we talk about the need for it online. We talk about that as part of our standard operating procedures, both with the Fix Auto and the Pro Color Network now. In terms of doing, though, the physical training, this one we rely on vendor partners. So the partnerships that we have, whether it be through Mitchell, Bosch, Autel, or Launch, these are the typical tools that we use. We even have a more deep dive version of ADAS that ties into Hunter car alignment equipment, where not everybody's aware. I mean, even if you just have an alignment done on your car, you bumped into a curb, you have an alignment, that alignment requires a full ADAS recalibration of your vehicle. And it can't be done simply with the tools in a typical collision center. It has to be on a 4-wheel alignment machine, has to be 27 feet away from the targets. And you have to be able to then touch all 4 wheels and properly align the entire vehicle. Even just adjusting the steering wheel now requires a full ADAS recalibration. So there's so much tied into it, but we're fully equipped for that. We're able to train on it. Again, it's a difficult one because I can have virtually 2 people in my training center, but ad hoc, we go through it. When people have that need, they don't understand it, and we're not able to dispatch a vendor to do it on site at a shop, we can bring them in, and we will take that burden on as well.
Yeah, awesome to hear. I mean, there's a lack of training for the ADAS and the iCar side of it so far, but to hear that you guys are reaching out to manufacturers, I mean, that's kind of the best way we can go about it right now. It's still a big question mark for a lot of people. I mean, we've seen the reports from ADAS Think and whatnot, so definitely some movement going on there, but I'm glad to hear you guys are focusing on training.
Thanks for watching. This was a Media Matters production. If you liked what you saw, check out our other videos, follow our socials, and subscribe for more.